So I've got my slicer software on. Well, not mine, it's Ultimaker's. It's Ultimaker Cura. Ultimaker is obviously they make this free slicer and it's a very popular one. There are other slicers out there. I just like this one. This isn't sponsored. It's just the one that I'm used to and I use. However, if you want to sponsor me, Ultimaker, feel free to do so. I'd like one of your tasty printers, please. So I'm set to my WeFuntina 2, which is a very small printer. It hasn't got a heated bed. But I like it because it's small and portable. So I'm using the WeFuntina 2. We'll see that in the next video when I print this out. Can I open up my project and get it onto the plate? So there's the model. If I zoom in a touch, we've got our air gap you can see, and that's that. I'm not going to print this with any build support. Build support stops things overhanging, but if I put support in, it's going to make it sticky, and it's going to be sticky enough as it is because of the way we've drawn it. So we need to make sure it releases. Going to drop this down and go through the settings before we slice it. So actually, I'll slice it first so you can see what it looks like. This is a very fast video, by the way. There's lots of slicing, but you just spend some time reading up on it. If I go to preview mode, you can see the layers there, and I can even do a little playback. You can see there's the print head, printing the last little bit. Zin, 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 zin. That's the noise it makes. So moving on, we're going to go and look at the different profiles. So basically, if you want to get printing, when you load your printer in, so you'll go into the printers and you'll add a printer, add the one that you've got. It'll probably be in there. Unless it's brand new, then you'll need to wait for the next update of Cura. They tend to be really good with that. You've got your profile settings, so that's extra fine. I tend to either go for normal, or if I'm testing something out draft, you probably won't use these bigger. It'll print faster, but it will look a bit rougher. But if you're maybe testing something for the size or shape or whatever, you can throw it on course. It'll use less filament, print faster. However, it won't look very nice. It'll look a bit shabby. In terms of our layer height, I'm not going to adjust that because this is all preset for me. I'm not going to bother with the top and bottom, leaving that alone. Infill though, I do need to consider. If this is going to be sort of structural, or so like my ukulele, for example. You can watch some of the videos. I'm making a new one, by the way, so watch the latest videos on the Tina WeFuntina 2 even. I'd have that up at sort of 80-90% if I'm making the ukulele part that's going to take strain. This isn't going to take strain, so I'm just going to go for 50%. I could even go down to 10% if I want, but it's not going to make that much difference on a model this small. This is a very small model. Print temperature, I've got 210 in there. The printer I've got max temperature is 220. The limit on the filament I think is 230. So in the end, normally if it's over 200, your filament's going to melt. You do want to just have a little play with your settings. Sometimes if it's too hot, it doesn't dry as well. So you need to or set as well. So you just need to have a little play with it. 210 works for me with the filament that I use. Print speed, that's your manufacturer's setting of the speed that things move for everything to work. So the extrusion rate, that's the fastest it can go. With the speed, it will extrude the filament without making a mess. If you put it faster than that, your machine will go faster, but the extruder won't keep up. So you need to just look at what that is for your machine. You can set it slower, but it will be slower. I just set it to what the manufacturer recommends, and that is that for this one. I'm going to tick enable retraction. Again, if you hover over these things, you can read about them. I'm not just going to ignore that for now. I'm going to allow print cooling, which lets the fan come on, and I'm going to keep the fan at 100%. I'm not having support. So if I generate support, I'll tick it now. So look at this preview. If I do generate support and reslice it, I've got to reslice. I'm going to click slice behind there. You can see it's put support in, but it's added support to places where inside where I don't want support. So I'm taking that off and reslicing. So I've got a raft as my build plate adhesion. You can see this raft is printed on the bottom here. Because I haven't got any heating on my build plate, I haven't got heated build plate, I'm putting a raft on. The general rule of thumb is if you want a good print on a raft, but it can take quite a bit longer because the raft's quite big, especially if you're printing a big object. However, you get a great adhesion and you tend to have a better print at the end, less warping of your print. What I mean by warping is as the filament cools, it'll contract. So you might have little curves on the corners of something of your print because it retracts in as it cools down when it hits the build plate and cools fast, whereas this provides an air gap and also something quite sticky, so it stops or reduces the retraction and keeps your model more square, or the edges straighter and flatter. Right, I tried to make that short. It wasn't very short. Apologies. The next thing is, let's get this onto the printer. You can see it says here save to removable drive. I've got a removable SD card plugged into my computer, and then I'm going to send this to there, put the SD card in the printer and print it out. Watch the next video to see it all happening.